Peace. MC, get my people call me sub. When I step up in the party, get penny, get love. I'm fucking around. Peace, y'all. It's Substantial. What's going on? We coming to you live from Brooklyn. It's been a while. You know what I mean?
I know you just touched down in New York for the weekend.
Right.
You up here on business, pleasure? What you doing?
Personal stuff, man. I came up, my wife's family, they lost the matriarch of the family a couple years ago. Her grandmother passed, and we was up here for the Parkinson's Walk, man. You know, good cause and stuff. Went out, support, donate our time and money.
No doubt.
And then while I'm here too, met with some folks talking some biz about the album and stuff. You know, the new album. So
I know I called you yesterday to set up the meeting, and you were at Algorithm Spot.
Yeah.
So I know you're getting some beats.
Oh man,
getting some stuff ready.
Yeah, I was really just there letting him and my man Natural. I was letting them preview the album and stuff because we got all the tracks recorded, and I just wanted to show him what he had already heard for the most part what I did with his beats, but I wanted him to see how it fit in the scheme of the whole album. So
well, shout outs to them. Shout out to the Stuyvesants. She had the album Sacrifice.
Right.
I guess around 2008.
Yeah.
On QN5, right?
Right.
And what's been going on since then? I know you had a couple collaborations that you dropped. Tell me a little bit about those.
Yeah, well, since then, dropped a couple projects. In the midst of, working on Sacrifice, I was also working with a brother who produced one of the tracks on Sacrifice, who goes by the name of Burns, from Pittsburgh. And so we had recorded a bunch of tracks, and like before I did anything new or whatever, I just felt like, man, we were sitting on like an EP worth of tracks that we just kind of recorded in hopes of doing something with. So I was like, yo, let's put it out to the world. And so we did a digital only release of that through QN5.
Right.
It's called Substantial Burns. Featured a couple artists on my homegirl Steph the Sapphic Songstress, Capital ID, who's from Brooklyn. My nephew made his debut. He goes by the name of Wealth, dope MC. And then of course it had probably the most popular track from the album was the track with Extended Fam called the WWKYA Tour.
Wow.
So yeah, and that was remixed for Cunning Linguist's Strange Journey Volume 2, I believe. Probably the most popular thing, or the biggest release I've had in between, now and Sacrifice was with my partner Marcus D, based out of Seattle, Washington. We did an album called Substantial, and Marcus D or Bob Alloy. We got a licensing deal, like in Japan, where my music tends to be the most popular. And so we put that release out back in September. And after we released it ourselves everywhere else, and then licensed it through them, it got a bigger deal in Japan. The record's doing real good, man. It moved. It's crazy because it sells at import prices, so like it's like a $20 album, but the joint sold like 1,000 copies in 3 months. So considering the fact we don't have any real major backing or anything, it's really just us grinding.
Right.
I mean, the record's doing real good, and that doesn't include the digital sales too. So we've been making a little name for ourselves. It's a perfect release for folks who kind of grew up on my older stuff, like the stuff I did with Nujabes, because of the jazz influence and stuff,
Yeah. If they want to go really way back,
what
is it? The Sun Is Born album. What's the full name of it?
The Sun Is Born. Yeah.
To This Union, the Sun Is Born. S-U-N, Sun.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, I did a lot of touring with Cunning Linguists over the last couple of years. Shout out to them. Make sure you check out their new release. Because of them, I got to hit up probably around 40 cities or whatever in the U.S., something around there, and a lot of cities out in Europe as well. It was a great experience, man. It was awesome to finally get to meet some of the fans I had out there. I was actually surprised at how many fans, because a lot of times when you open for somebody else, you kind of expect most of the people, not just most of the people, pretty much everyone there to mainly be there for them. But I was actually surprised how many shows I rocked out there where people were very familiar with my stuff, man. And the love is crazy. I remember one show in particular, a fan in Germany literally whipped out. He was like, "I'm sorry in advance, you're going to be here for a while." And he pulls out my whole catalog. He had so much of my stuff, I knew for a fact that at least 2 of the joints he was holding, I pressed up myself, for real. CDs, I burned myself, put the label on myself. And so it was pretty awesome, man. It was a pretty awesome experience. As far as the Japan stuff, first time I went out there was 2000, when I first started recording with Nujabes, rest in peace. And then And then the last time I was out there was 2010, last year. We were there for the New Best tribute that we did and stuff with a lot of artists. So, yeah, man, it's definitely a blessing, man. You know, I count my blessings every day for the opportunities I get.
No doubt. How did you transition from putting your own CDs together to like MTV is playing your joints, VH1, BET?
Part of it has to do, I mean, part of it has to definitely do with the work ethic, you know, just constantly being motivated and pushing the stuff out there. But then, the reality of it also has to do with having a budget too, man. I was blessed in the fact that, you know, Q&5 was willing to kind of put some money behind a lot of what was happening. So, I mean, that still doesn't guarantee that the stuff was going to get played. People still had to like it. And then they gave us opportunities like the voting that happened for MTVU for my video when it was up against, I think, like High Hater by Mano and a couple other artists.
What song was that?
The song that was, the video was for It's You, I think, produced by Noah, kind of language. And so, man, the fans came out, man, and really, it's funny, they actually tried to change the rules. Originally it was a week or whatever worth of vote, and then they extended it to 2 or something like that because of all of this hype that was going on around it. And it didn't matter, man. We still came out
I remember
on top.
that. Actually, you were ahead in the voting because you were like putting on the blogs and forums, yo, all my fans vote, and then you were like, it looks good, I'm in the front runner, and then you were like, oh, they extended it for another week, and now I dropped to second. You got to vote harder, got to go back.
Yeah.
You try to like, hey, Substantial can't win. Let's go another week.
Man,
haters.
Look, I don't know all the politics that was happening behind closed doors, man, but, you know, it is what it is. What was supposed to happen, happened, man. We won, and that's all that it came down to. Video went in rotation.
The people have spoken.
Yeah, no doubt.
Came through, no doubt.
Yeah, I've always just been been the type of person that tried to reach out to the fans as much as possible and tried to work with folks who were willing to do the same. And you know, because for the most part, man, that's who we do it for. We do it for ourselves, of course, because it's expression. But at the end of the day, the people that's listening, the people that buy those records, man, you give them the opportunity to speak up on your behalf. They come through every time. You know what I mean?
So you know, walk us through it. The MTVU, was that the first appearance of your video on a big television outlet, and then that led to what else? Because now I see it all over the place.
MTV2, then it led to MTV. It played on a regular MTV station. And then when we dropped my favorite things was played on MTVU. It was played on The Deal on BET. It was played on VH1 Soul. It was crazy. You know, I went to go buy my MacBook Pro, and the cat who was who I was buying the computer from knew who I was. He was like, "Dude, I seen your video." It was wild. I was like, "Does that mean I get a discount?" Nah, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So I ain't get to that level yet where I'm getting perks like that. You know what I mean?